Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. So in this lectures, let's learn C# programming. So what is C# and how to do programming using C#? Yeah, what is object-oriented programming and what are the features we have in OOPS object-oriented programming? And we'll learn other advanced concepts like creating APIs and link queue, async await programming, and delegates and events. Okay, let's start with the introduction. So C# is actually a modern object-oriented programming language which runs on dotnet platform, which is used to design Windows apps, web apps, games, mobile apps, APIs, and more. We can create cloud also, like Azure functions. So we can design games, we can design web applications, and we can design mobile application with MyUI. So this is a cross-platform application development. So we can design desktop application using WPF and WinForms. Cloud like APIs, Azure, and REST APIs we can create using C# programming. So C# code, how it works, let's see here simply. So C# code will compile the user generated code into intermediate language, so which understand by .NET runtime. So this .NET runtime will have a common language runtime. So this common language runtime will execute the intermediate language code, which is IL code. So this is how compilation process will work, and it will return the output from the CLR. And key features of C# is it provides memory management, security, and cross-platform support with .NET Core. And C# has a rich set of libraries actually, so for developing various applications. It supports modern programming like async await and link queue and more other features we have. So C# is widely used in industry. It has a large community of developers actually. Okay, to get start with C#, we need Visual Studio or else Visual Studio Code. So we have to install the .NET SDK. From the website we can download and install .NET Core SDK, and we can create a C# application. So let's first create a console application. For that, .NET new console and project name C# first project. Okay, so now C# first project is created. So in this, let's see first basics of C#. So how the structure is and what are the data types we have, and how to declare that variables, and what are the flows, control flows we have, like if statements, if else statements, and loops, and switch statements. So this is a project structure of console application. So we will be having a program.cs, and this is a CS project file. This CS project file will contain target framework version, and this also contains the library stack. So whichever the library we have installed here, this will contain here. So by default it is coming with a simple console.writeline hello world, but let's create a namespace C# first project. So inside this, so before that, let's import the system library. So this system is the base library. So after that, let's create a class program, and public static void main and string args. So let's print something, console.writeLine hello world. So this is a static method. So the static method will execute first actually. So that is the reason program.cs will need to be created with a static method, which is a main method. This main method will execute first. Let's run and check .NET build first. So before building, we have to navigate to that folder C# master project .NET build. When we compile, it will build. So it is saying build succeeded. Let's run this project .NET run. Now you see it is printing hello world. This is a basic structure of C# program. What it contains, I imported the system namespace. Even if we import or not importing the system, by default this namespace will access the system library while building and running. So it will execute the basic program. So let's run again. Let's see. So you can see even if I comment the using system, it is working. Okay, this is containing a namespace. So this is a structure of a C# program. It should have a namespace. Namespace means it is a library or namespace we call in C#. So this is a class and this is a static method which executes, which is an entry point of the program. Okay. So in C# to comment, we have to use double slash. Then this is the comment in C#. Okay, now let's see how many types of data types it has. C# supports many data types, which are integer, double, float, string, char, and string, and bool. So these are all the data types in C#. So now let's create one by one. Int number equals to 10. So this is a type of int. So this is how we declare the variables in C#. So let's say double price, double variables, and this is float variable. Float variable, we have to add the suffix with f. So now let's see char. So when we use a single character, so single character, we use char. And now we use string, so and bool. So when we use character or we use char, when we use name or any type of string, we use string. This is bool, which is used to differentiate true or false. Okay, this is how we declare int or double, float, char, string, bool variables. So these are all data types supported by C#. Okay, now we have learned how to create a C# namespace and how we create a class and what are the data types we have. So let's see how to create a function. So to create a function, so public void display function I am creating. So here I am returning something. So here I this is the function how we create. So this is a type of what we can say here, encapsulation we call it is. So these public and private protected internal and protected internal are called as access modifiers. So in next coming videos we will learn what are access modifiers and how to declare. But as of now, just understand this is how we create the function. So first we have to create access, we have to specify access modifier, and then access modifier, after that return type and method name and parameters. So this is how we create the function. So here we are returning something. So when we are returning something, we should specify which type of value it is. So since I declared void, I cannot return. So it will say that you have specified void, so that is the reason it is not returning. So if I declare as int, now the error will go. So let's do one thing, int num1, int num2. Now I will add addition with this method. Let's call it as add. So here if I want to call here add 5, 10, so you can observe there is error. Why? Because we are using non-static method in static method. So since our main method is static, we have to create the method, the add method also static. So this you will understand in coming videos. In the coming lectures you will understand why we are using like that. Okay, as of now let's see here. So I want to print the output, add 5, 10. So here you can observe we have write method and write line method. When we use write, when we use write, it will write the line, but whenever we want next line should come in the next line, we have to write with write line. If we write with write only, it will come in the same line. Let's see the output, you will understand. I'm keeping both of them in write. Now you can see here it is coming, both of them are coming in the same line. So when we use write line, it will break. Now you can see it is breaking. So this is how the function will work. So let's create a other class. So here we are we are already understanding the static method will allow another static method only. So let's see normal method. So for that let me create a new file. Let's specify it as functions.cs, namespace, same namespace I will use, C# first project. Public class functions. Now let's specify this same method. Without static. Now if I want to use this method here, I need to create the object. So this functions.cs is a class, but we have to create an object for this class. Object and what is object and what is how we create and how this object is work, we will understand in the object oriented concept. So now let me create the object over here, functions new functions. Here we have to create with new function. So if you add here, we can remove this method. So this method have namespace and class. Inside that we have normal method, not static method, but it is able to access. Why? Because we are creating an object over here inside static method, then it will work. Okay, now you can see it is working. Okay, now we understood how to declare a variable and how many types of data types we have, and also how to create a function inside the class. Now let's see access modifiers. We have four types of access modifiers, which are public, private, protected, and internal. And two other combination, we can use combination of protected internal as private protected. These are also access modifiers. So completely we have 6 types of access modifiers. If we check one by one, public is accessible from anywhere, so we can access within the class and from another class as well as another library. So this is publicly accessible. Private methods are accessible only within the same class. So if I want to create a private method within this class, it can be accessed within this same class only. So protected method or member, if we create this with protected, which can be accessed within the same class as well as derived classes. Derived means we can use the inheritance. So when we inherit this class to another class, we can use the protected members or functions. Internal means it can be accessed only within the assembly. Protected internal means it can be accessed within the same assembly, also derived classes. Private protected is which can be accessed within the same assembly by derived classes only. Okay, now this two will get some confusion, but when we create an example, we'll understand that. So which can be this protected internal can be accessed within the same assembly by derived classes, and private protected is also similar to that. Within the same assembly, when we derive the class, we can use, but not outside of the assembly. So this can be used outside of the assembly when we derive it. Okay, let's create private method first. Private subtract. So this is a private method. Let's create protected method also. Multiply is a protected method. So if I want to use this subtract, then comma 2. So we are already doing this console.writeLine. We are not returning, since we are not returning anything, we should not be able to use like this. So I'll just pass this. This is a private method, and multiply. This is a protected method. So I'm just calling in the same addition add method. So it is already calling here. Since it is already calling here, it will execute this subtract and multiply functions also. Let's dotnet build dotnet run. So you can see it is calling subtract method, then multiply method, then it is returning this add. So now let's see what will happen if I want to use this subtract and multiply over here. Functions dot subtract and functions dot multiply. You can observe it is showing a compilation error. It is saying that this subtract method is inaccessible due to its protection level. Similarly to this also, inaccessible due to its protection level. Okay, now we have used this private method. So since it is private method, it can be accessed within the class only. So but multiply we can call from another class. Let's see how we call that multiply. Class A, I will create namespace, same namespace I want to copy, and public class A. Now when we import, when we use inheritance here, we can access this multiply method. So this is how we use derived class. Public access void access derived class methods. So subtract, anyway it is not accessible, so accessing protected method from the base class, which is allowed. So since we are already printing here, just want to comment over here to understand. So this is multiply method. Okay, now we can observe that it is being accessed, but this access derived class method need to be called from program.cs. For that, let me create a new A. So this is created the object. So now we are able to access this derived class method. Okay, now you can see here multiplying protected, which is protected method 50. So it is printing 50. Since we are passing 10 and 5, it is printing 50. So this is how we access a protected method. So let's see protected internal and private protected. So let's understand how this advanced access modifiers like protected internal and private protected. First, let's see internal. To access this internal, actually we have to create one more library. So before creating one more library, I will demonstrate private protected and protected internal. So let's understand this first. So here to understand, same assembly, child class, another assembly. Okay, so this is yes, and this is also yes. We can access from another assembly also yes. When we use protected internal, we can access it from same assembly and child classes and another assembly also. So when we use private protected, yes, we can use in the same assembly and in the child classes, as well as in this another assembly. No, we cannot access in another assembly. But here this is private protected. We can use in the same assembly, but only derived classes within the child classes, only on child. So this is the difference between protected and private protected. So let's first create a protected internal method. So So this protected, let's also create a private protected. Okay, let's try to access this protected internal method from another class. So here, since we already derived this functions class in the A, so we can access this protected internal uh, method in class A. So accessing protected method is allowed, but here you can see modulus is also allowed. Why? Because it is derived. Why? Because it is derived within the same assembly. So I said that we can access in the same assembly when it is derived only. So this means also derived. So when, let me create another class B. Now if we try to access this multiply, so multiply is a protected method, I think. So it cannot be accessed without inheritance. So this is not allowed. When we use divide, we can this is allowed. So this divide method is protected internal. So it means internally we can access, and protected also we can access. Protected means when we derive, we should be able to access. Internal means we can access internal within the assembly. So since it is the same assembly, we should be able to access the divide method. But when we try to use this private protected method, this modulus, it is not allowed. You can see that protection level issue will come. Okay, this is the difference between private protected and protected internal. So internal, we have to create another project. So when I create another project and import in another project this C# post project, at that time I will show internal. Okay, in the next video, let's see how we use the control statements, if and else statements and loops, as well as switch. So these are all called as control statements. So we can see in the next video. Later we can see classes and objects and inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction, and other advanced topics.